key definition of this debate and two stakeholders that is involved in this debate. So let's go into what I should define first into this debate. First is discretionary spending. So discretionary spending is basically when you have basically already have all these basic needs that you have that you can gain, like you have luxury spending. And charity is basically giving basic needs to the poor that have less basic need compared to people who have needs. Alright. So who are in the stakeholders into this debate here? Which is the poor people and individuals in society. So what poor people have plays a role in this debate is that they don't have basic needs in the first place, because they're poor in the first place. They don't have basic needs because they lack in education and they lack in a lot of things, and they don't have much opportunity compared to us who has lives in modern urban society, right? So individuals in society, which is people who have people who are in the middle class and people who are in the high class, meaning they have a stable, sustained economy for themselves, right? So, okay, so we, our stance for today is that we believe in that giving charity is important over discretionary spending, and our burden of proof today that we will push to our burden that why charity should be important, right? So let's take the status quo and problem here in this debate. So we in today's society we tend to spend discretionary spending over charity. So what do we mean that we spend discretionary spending over charity? What we do, because we basically prioritize ourselves over the people that don't have basic needs. So why do we tend to do this? Because we don't have the thinking that why we should actually opt to giving charity to these people. Why should we even take care of these people? Because we only care for ourselves. Right. That's why we don't really give. That's why we don't really give charity to these poor communities, right? So let me give you a story what I mean by this, right? So let's just say you spend up a lot of money, right, just to buy a PS4, right? Because that PS4 doesn't cost like around 100, 200 ringgit. It costs like around 1,000 ringgit, right? But then you want then this charity program, right, that you should at least give in. But you've been saving up a lot for that PS1. You want to get the PS1 because of your luxury spending that you wouldn't give in.
Point.
Yes.
Why is it fair that the act of giving charity is seen as an expectation rather than something that should be appreciated?
I want to say that throughout my argument. So when we look at the charity, we don't think that we should spend charity because it is a good thing to give charity. They give out the criteria what we should give charity, but we don't really think that why it's important for us to give the charity. What is the benefit for us to give us the charity, right? So that brings us to my first argument, which is the importance of charity, right? So what we mean by the importance of charity here is that we want to bring towards humanity, so we can bring us together to build a community where we can have a stable economy. So what do we mean by this? So what we mean by having a stable economy, we're looking at like countries that are poor, that they are very sustained and they don't have a stable economy, right? So when we opt into charity, right, just opt into charity for those who are in need, we will later make the economy strong because that people are working. If you want to build a country, right, we need people working. And if we don't have people working in the community or in the country, we wouldn't have a stable country. Like for example, like in the USA, right, they have charity funding and have Medicare, right? So that they prioritize the people over themselves, right? So and look where they are now. They are one of the like successful countries in the world. So what I'm trying to prove here is that when we give up the when we give up charity to these people, we will bring a sense of humanity that we want to strive forward and strive forward where we can have live in a stable economy where we can work peacefully, and the poverty rate will at least mitigate from there. So what have I said here? What I've said here is that we have told you why the necessity of you giving up into charity, that why it's important, it brings a sense of humanity, that brings a sense of humanity that can give a good impact to the country, and why and please Syed for a second.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for that speech. Continue to debate from what I will say.
Here.
I think it's a line we need to draw in this kind of scope, right? There are certain things that are morally good to do, and certain things that are morally obliged to do by society. And it's important to understand the difference between these two things. Things that are morally good are things that we are not forced to do, but if we do so, it's something we recognize as good for humanity because we give up certain rights that we have, and we give it to other people to help them and benefit them in certain ways, right? So we recognize, we notice this with charity. We notice this when we are helping people on the street, right? We notice this when we care about someone who comes and cries to us in class, or we care about other people within classrooms environments, right? The point in which where we do something good for another being without being forced to do so is one we recognize as a good, is a moral good, right? A moral obligation is something that we're required to do as a human being, right? So we're required to avoid torture. We're required to not hurt another human being. Those are things that are moral obligations. I think this debate requires us to adjust principle. Why, when we talk about terms in charity, why suddenly a moral good becomes a moral obligation, why that's just to do so, and why individuals should be forced to do so or viewed in a certain way. Now, before I go into the principle debate, which is where I felt like where this debate should take place, let's really quickly deal with the tangible. I want to come up for Prime Minister, but on a quick note, I don't think tangible is part of the debate, regardless whether somehow or other they prove to me charity is really real in their side of the house, or they get better people. I don't think that's part of it. This whether or not it's just real to do so. I think it's an ethics debate, right? They want to talk about the importance of charity. They argue that's very simple. At a point where you have people giving to charity, therefore somehow or other this means that more people start to develop, right? Let's just deconstruct this argument tactically, right? I think that at a point in which people can't spend money on themselves, they lose an incentive to be able to work as hard as they want to do so. They lose an incentive to want to achieve certain things because their standard is still the same, right? Regardless whether I work harder in the office or work my 12-hour shifts, I'm not going to get any benefits. And if I want the basic needs, other people give me money in the first place, right? I think their side of the house, that's the incentive for people to work longer hours. But secondly, how do we have those type of benefits on our side of the house, right? We recognize in capitalist systems, so we have development of society, right? People increasingly compete, right? This means that people start to develop infrastructure faster because they want to cater towards an educational crowd. It's rising. They want to cater towards a market and demand of individuals that want to continuously work and continuously strive. That means the economy starts to improve. When you have a large growing economy, then you have a state that can tax the economy and then help these individuals who are poor and help these people climb up, right? They lose their benefit on their side of the house when they lack the incentive to be able to do so. That's it for tangible on their side of the house. I think the importance of charity is one that needs to stand upon the principles of what charity stands for, which goes into my argumentations in today's debate. Firstly, what is this debate about? I think this debate is about whether or not giving to charity is a moral obligation that needs to be given, that every individual needs to subscribe to. Our word put is simple, right? It isn't a moral obligation, but it is a moral good. And you as an individual can choose to give to charity if you please to do so. And I don't think it's wrong for us to say that you can't give to charity. But it's wrong for us to say that you have to give to charity if you can do better, or if you have, like, for example, more money and more wealth upon you. I think that is where the point which we say that is wrong. Our stance is donate if you wish, but I don't think we should force you to do so, right? So simple, right? Self-prioritization is one that's just and why individuals to be able to do so. Two levels to its argumentation. First, how do we utilize money? How do we get money? How do we earn money? I think the ability for a person to earn money requires them to give up certain things. Effort, time, intensive training and so on, right? It means they give up parts of their life or parts of their experience in order to make money or to make capital for them to live happier and better lives, right? That means these individuals are giving up their rights in order to gain your capital, which is a right for them to be able to spend their money on things that make them happy as an individual, right? Things that make them think that life is worth living. So I think the decision for decision for spending of money is very particular, right? It means the decision for spending money is where you talk about whether or not states or any individuals have the right to impose upon your right of having capital or having money to be able to spend, right? I contest to you. that at the point in which we force this, is unjust way to do so because these individuals have taken the right in order to get money, and you're giving this, you're forcing this money to go into other circumstances. I think that's unjust. The decision to spend your money at the point where you have earned the money and worked for that money is one that you should hold as an individual. But that means that we are going to promote and say that, look, if you want to give to charity something that's good, but if you want to spend for yourself, it's something that's good too, right? I think the decision should be given to the individual. Second level, why is it not a moral responsibility for us to cater towards the suffering of others, right? So I think when we talk about legal sense, right? For example, if we see someone drowning in an ocean, right? Or if we see someone who's crossing the road and we are rushing for office or something like that, and multiple other different circumstances where we can give up certain benefits that we have obtained for the benefits of others, is something where we choose whether or not we want to give them up, right? It means we praise the fact that individuals want to do so. But why do we not force individuals to give it up? Because we recognize it's an infringement of the right of the individual to be able to give it up, right? It means we recognize that it's imposing on you as an individual to make free choice of whether to do so, right? But who is responsible for these poor individuals in these cases if it's not the individuals? I think it's the state's responsibility to cater to these individuals, and I think it's not fair for us to implement and force this responsibility upon individuals, right? I mean, states need to cater towards teaching good morals within schools, right? States need to have individuals think and decide for themselves if they want to be able to do so, instead of forcing individuals to be able to do so. States need to have strong structures to be able to help these communities thrive, instead of forcing people and saying, look, you're complicit within the suffering, right? But secondly, these individuals aren't complicit within the suffering in the first place, right? That means that I am an individual who have worked hard, I've gotten a lot of benefits in the current status quo, right? It doesn't mean I've taken away these rights away from other people in the past, right? So the point at which I'm not complicit in the suffering of others, I don't recognize why am I complicit in, or why am I required to then help people who weren't hurt by me. By the way, closing, if you have anything, I'll take you, right? Lastly, right, what are we talking about? Yeah, lastly, I want to talk about self-prioritization and why it's an important principle in today's debate. I think at the point in which individuals are allowed to self-prioritize, these are individuals that are allowed to be happy. Why is it an important principle that we're willing to fight for the side of open compensation? I think as an individual, I've stated this once before, if you have spent your time and given part of your life and part of your life to be able to gain certain things, self-prioritization is occurring. It is just for you to be able to prioritize yourself in these circumstances, right? It means you recognize that the choice to do so is one that's just because you're giving up certain rights for the benefits of yourself, right? So we recognize that it's not a moral responsibility for you to be able to force to cater to this system towards these circumstances. So what have I told you in today's debate, right? Simply, on a tangible basis, we are more than happy to engage with them, but I don't think it's part of the debate, right? We are happy to state that at points where individuals are happy and constantly working in the capitalist system, they will be able to have a circumstance where states are able to help these individuals and it isn't displaced upon the individuals. But on a principle level, I've told you of why individuals aren't responsible for the suffering of other people, why they have the right to spend their own money, and why these individuals should be able to choose whether or not they want to do so, and the forcing of these individuals to donate to charities, one that's unjust and harmful, especially one that's taken by the state. For all those reasons, never brought out the post.
Okay, thank you for that speech. Yes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So today, me as the deputy Syed government, so people have the right to live life. Important to all creatures to have a complete set of necessities to carry out our daily lives. Look at us. Enough food, overflowing of water, and dinner waiting for us at 7 o'clock. How luxurious our life is. The drinks we don't drink, the clothes we don't wear, the games we don't even play. Ever noticed how ungrateful we are? Some of us don't even have clothes to wear. Some don't even have a roof to live under. Some don't even have food. We believe it is our right to lend others a hand to live. So, what side government is trying to say, what side opposition has been proposing, is that they're making charity sound as it is a sin, as it is taking away your right. But let's understand the motion right now. The motion clearly says that when our basic necessities are met, when we all have a roof to live under, and at the same time, this motion applies when we are forced with a certain circumstance, which wasn't clearly explained by which side opposition likes to make it sound as if it is such an obligatory for every individual to give are forced to give charity. We want to clear that up, that we're not preventing discretionary spending. We are only forcing people to give charity under certain circumstances. And what are these circumstances are we talking about? So how we would make this an obligation is that the individual should acquire a certain amount of wage. A certain amount of wage where we give them the right to spend on discretionary spending, where they have a certain amount of money to spend on their own goods, and therefore we are forcing them to spend some of them for charity. So why does it sound like an obligation here? Let me try to explain to you why. Benevolency is something that is hard to find today. It's a scarce item, it's not easy to find across the street. We always hear cases about rape, or cases about robbery, or armed robberies, or theft, thievery, and all that. We rarely hear charity, we rarely hear people lending a hand, NGOs making a stand. It's something that we don't hear in our basic lives. And that is how we make it being heard. How do we want to implement the building blocks of life, which is positivity, which is the acts which improves our lives? So, knowing that we're all covered by all these bad aspects of life, these bad aspects in terms of all the things, so this is why we really want to implement charity to individuals who their basic necessities are met. Okay. So I would like to explain another why charity is important. Like our first speaker has stated that charity, when done enough, when done sufficiently, could build up an economy. How? It increases job opportunities to people. It improves their appearance, improves their image. How? Giving them charity, of course. We're living in a country, no matter where we live, and there's always a crisis in the economy. So how do we improve that? How do we improve that? I would like to give you a solution. We improve that by improving our citizens themselves, our people. So how do we improve our people? And that is why it has become an obligatory in this kind of sense, where it has become, where the individuals have met the requirements of living, we are going to implement charity. So what happens when charity is that the poor people, the people who have no shelter, gets money, gets enough, have money to sustain their lives. When this happens, their job opportunities, their aura, their producers, it will not fast, but surely improve their image. Therefore, they could get job opportunities. Yes,
yeah, if you only want to debate on the tangible, discretionary spending is something that governments are allowed to tax upon. Governments get revenues, and governments can then help people by strategically using the money, right? So if that's the case, would you then not force people to do so?
Okay, so I would like to state what are the problems that could arise when we give charity. Are we completely giving out our luxurious life? Are we giving out all the hard work we gained for the sake of charity because it's being forced? I believe not. So it is not wrong, and it doesn't hurt to give charity if your requirements are met to it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that speech. Call upon Diego. Go ahead.
There was a very clear question that was posed from opening of opposition towards the GAP case, whether or not this should be counted as a moral good or a moral obligation. We see that opening government is very unclear in regards to what does that mean when it comes to arguing the principle behind why we should be giving the kind of charity that has been presented in this debate. Let's be very clear. We on the side of opening opposition are very happy when people are willing to give charity towards others. But we feel that when it's seen as an expectation, and if you are a horrible person for not doing so, we feel that it's a line we cannot cross. So, with that being said, let's understand the flaws of opening government. The first was that they were very unclear in regards to what they wanted to do when it comes to proving the principle behind this. We see that the principle that I can find is that they want to provide a benefit for society, because charity provides benefit towards those who are currently being marginalized within society. We feel that in that regard, and if that was the only principle in this debate, we feel that it's a very poor principle, because number one, these aren't issues by which charity can solve by itself. We don't feel like it's going to magically be solved if people suddenly all do charity. There's a lot of complicated issues that goes around it when it comes to a generation of jobs. Please sit down, I'll take one in a while. Generation of jobs by the state, the funding of funds towards different sectors within society, such as slums, for example, by the state, because they feel like they want to develop these kinds of areas. We feel like these kinds of benefits is benefits that can be accrued on the both sides of the house, but it has nothing to do with whether we provide more charity or not. It's only dependent on whether the state knows what the hell they're doing. So let's be very clear, this debate is not about those kinds of tangible outcomes. So with that being said, let's understand what my previous speaker has talked about, which was never responded to. The very concept here was that he was talking about the concept of self-prioritization. So what does this mean? Very clearly and very briefly, I'll go through this. That self-prioritization is built on the idea that you yourself have worked very hard for the state so that you're able to provide the needs that you have. And thus you have excess disposable income that you can use on yourself for the attainment of your own happiness. We feel that happiness can be taken on a couple of ways. Number one, you can spend it on yourself, you can spend it on your family, you can spend it on your parents, and you can also spend it on charity. But all of this is actions that you do not because you have to, because you feel like when you do it, you feel much more appreciative with the life that you have, and you feel much more happier with yourself. We feel that that kind of concept is extremely important to maintain when it comes towards the acts of which we do towards other kinds of individuals. So we feel that in that kind of regard, the responsibility here does not lie towards this kind of people. It's only a good that needs to be appreciated upon. With that being said, I have one piece of argumentation that is extremely important. Appreciation of moral good. And I'll integrate other kinds of responses within it. So why exactly is this important here? Because the appreciation of doing an act out of goodwill is something that needs to be viewed as something that is celebrated. And what do I mean by this? In status quo right now, whenever you're able to provide charity to someone, or you're able to help an old lady cross the street, for example, these are acts by which people see you as a person, as a good human being, and you should be celebrated for it. You are a person who is willing to take away your time towards prioritizing another person's time in this regard. We feel that kind of satisfaction from both people seeing that act, the person who you are helping as well as yourself, is a satisfaction that's extremely important for society to maintain. Because why exactly is this important, especially when it comes towards providing towards a teaching towards the next generation? The concept of goodwill in this essence is something that allows people to understand that being good has its merits and has something that will make you feel a lot more happier with yourself. And that kind of concept allows people to be motivated to constantly help other people at the end of the day. We do not believe that there are no benevolent people in this world. We feel that there's a lot of benevolent people in this world. It's just that the media doesn't report them because it's not sensationalized and it's not a news that you can make money on. So we feel that in that idea, and something that is very important to maintain, is that the teachings and the concept of goodwill is something that needs to be taught to individuals to understand and appreciate, rather than seen as something that you have to do in this regard. Because what exactly is the problematic part if you see it as something that you have to do in this regard? Because when you are expected to do these kind of things, what happens when you don't do this kind of thing? And in this regard, doing charity, we feel that you will always be seen, you are seen as a horrible human being as a selfish human being that does not care about people who are living in worse off lives than you. That's very untrue. I may not, that doesn't mean I do not care for that kind of person, but I don't think it's my responsibility to help that kind of person. So why should I be shamed for it? But before I move on, yeah.
Don't you think it doesn't matter whether you are giving the money to these poverty people with your own will? At least it helps them making their life much more better.
Okay, it helps their life make their life much more better. But I'm pretty sure under your side of the house, you're going to make the life of the person giving the charity much worse. Now, why exactly am I going to talk about this? And this will tackle directly towards what the opening government is talking about when it comes towards the media and reporting towards these kinds of issues. So what did he say in this regard? He talked about the concept that the media doesn't report charity cases. Let's understand this. They don't report not because no charities are done, but because there's no money to be made out of reporting charity, because literally why would people care about it? It's nothing sensational about it. At the very least, they would report when high-end charities is being given. For example, a person of very high standing giving like $250,000, for example, towards charity. Those are moments where the media do report these kinds of things. Why exactly is this actually problematic under their side of the house? And this moves in a bit more towards tangible outcomes that they wanted to talk about. If the perception is that there is an expectation that you have to provide charity, the media has every reason to report why you did not pay off charity. What does this mean? It means that they can generate over the fact that a person is a selfish human being that should go off and live off in hell because that person did not want to pay off charity. That's the concept behind how society is going to grow, if understanding that it's an expectation that people should have when it comes towards utilizing their money. We feel that in this regard, number one, people are incapable of appreciating the concept of goodwill because that's something that you always have to do in this regard. That means that there is always good, and anything that doesn't comply to these kinds of standards are ultimately deemed as bad and horrible. And we feel that this is kind of teaching that will lead to more people looking down and shaming individuals who have done absolutely nothing wrong. This is the kind of teachings that will also be done towards children, individuals who are growing up and going to be the future members of society. We cannot teach these kinds of individuals that moral goodwill is an expectation. They need to learn to appreciate it, because the more they appreciate it, the more they are willing to do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that speech. We're going to close the next stage. Back off for Puteri.
In a nutshell of what the opposition side as a whole is trying to give to you is that you are trying to teach these people the concept of morality and why you need to appreciate all these kind of things in order to give more. But we see right now in our status quo that we already teach kids from like year one and about all of these doing good things to people in need. But we see right now in the status quo, poverty just keeps getting much more worse. It doesn't get any better in our status quo. It doesn't matter whether the opposition side wants to make a literal school that teaches moral from 10 years, but we can still see that the status quo, the society of the people, doesn't matter how much they were taught, they still won't give contribution as much as what the government is trying to do. And this is why we believe that we should force people to use the discretionary spending money to people who are actually in need, the people who are under the poverty line, in order to make the economy much more improved, to decrease the unemployment rate in our society. So in a world where money is the single most powerful and precious item, why should we, the government, tell people whether or not to use the money for themselves rather than others? So now let me explain to you why is it important. So first of all, it is the government job literally to make the nations much more better, to accommodate the people people of the nation to have a better life from time to time. But right now we see that the people in poverty aren't being helped at all. They don't have the opportunity, they don't have the education to support themselves for the better future. Right now they are sealed in a fate where they will die just like their ancestors die in below the bridges, where they don't have food, where they don't have homes. Right now we want to give them the opportunity that they deserve. We want to help these people in poverty by giving them money, by sending them to school, making them learn, making them having other jobs rather than a blue-collar job in factories, which will kill them from time to time. So because of this, because we give these opportunities for people to change their fate, to give them jobs like being doctors, lawyers, and even scientists that can change the world with amazing technologies, we can help the economy become much more better. Now we see that the unemployment rate become much more decreased, and because of this, it will most of the poverty people will become the useful and useful part of society. They wouldn't just become an unfunctioning part of society. They will finally become something that is worth and will actually help developing the economy, the education, and the whole nation to become much more better for the future. So now we see that we can achieve a lot of things just by helping these poverty people, making the human capital much more useful and taking the advantage of these people and making the development become much more better. We see that it is much more better for us to be self-sacrificing, because you can see that it is way more rewarding rather than being selfish, like what Amir Side is trying to do. So before I go to the facts, yes.
Yeah, would you force a person to work every minute that he's free just because it helps the economy and helps development?
We think that the principle of giving charity out of their own will doesn't matter if it actually helps the people under the poverty. Like we think that, for instance, when you were just a kid and you were passing by this one homeless kid, and then your mother forced you to give your 1 ringgit to this homeless kid, and it made the homeless kid life much more happier for that day. And that is just the result of the mother giving, forcing her child to give the 1 ringgit, to contribute at least a little bit of money to the kid in poverty. They will at least make the kid life much more better. This is exactly what the government side is trying to do. We don't really care. We don't care at all the principle whether or not these people are doing good things with their own will. We think that it is much more better for us to force these people and actually making things done, and actually making things much more better for the future and for their own self. So now what happens? So let me go to my second point. So what are the effects when we apply this motion, to the status quo? So now we see that maybe people will be mad at the government, but over time they will think that what they are doing are actually for the best for their own future. Because now we see that the employment rate becomes much more drastically increased, and more jobs are opening, and less people working in labor works, and become much more useful in our society. It becomes much more rewarding for ourselves to see that these people aren't just people who are sick, and just people who are hopeless and doesn't really have any need. We can be much more open-minded. This society, people in our society will be much more open-minded, and this will not just help develop their own morality, but also help the way our nation develop.
Before 6.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, if you're going to force everybody to give up their money and not spend on themselves, what is the incentive for me as a person to work more than, getting basic needs?
We think that it doesn't really affect the people who are working hard as much, because at the end of the day, all of the money that they work for will at least finally go back to themselves for food and paying bills. Like, the least you can do to contribute to the charity is by at least giving some money, part of your extra money after you already pay for your bills and foods and stuff. So because of this, we can finally give the opportunity to the people under the poverty line the opportunity to change their fate, the opportunity to become much more better and finally contribute something and making the life of the people that are not in poverty and also the people in poverty to have much more better life. And because of these reasons, ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you, Member for that speech. Call upon Member of Opposition. Stay here.
The government side, they believe that when you actually force people to do good things in order for them to feel good or have a good outcome from their actions, because they live in a utopian world. When they believe that in the long term, right, eventually people will think that, oh, what I'm doing actually is actually benefiting the society. But I tell you that no, in the long term, right, people will eventually feel that when the government is actually forcing them to give their money to charity instead of spending it on themselves and prioritizing themselves for their own for their own happiness or for their own wants, tell you that eventually you'll feel like giving money to charity will actually feel like something that's not relevant for some things that, because they didn't really develop the want to actually give back to society on by themselves. Because the government actually forced them. Eventually you'll feel like giving money to charity will feel like responsibility. It'll feel like it's as if they're paying tax to the government. Before going for rebuttals, I wanted to go through a few unanswered fundamental questions in today's debate. Firstly, the opening comment side mentioned about how how as humans in society we're actually ungrateful for because we have so many things. There's so many things that we have and maybe we don't use it. But they didn't really tell us what's so wrong with being ungrateful. They didn't really tell us that what's wrong about spending a little more on yourself after you get that money that you worked for. Next, they didn't really tell us that. They didn't really clarify us in what situations are you really faced the choices between this discretionary spending and giving to charity. Lastly, the government side didn't really tell us about, they stressed on how giving to charity is important, how giving to charity is a moral obligation. So they didn't tell us from the very get-go about what is actually the role in charities in today's society. So before I go on with my sections and such, I'd like to go through few rebuttals for the government side. So the member of government actually mentioned about how when you give back to charity, but in the long run, you will actually decrease the unemployment rate. But we tell you that when you give to charity, then maybe the charity will give it to support the welfare of people in poverty, right? But we tell you that when these people who are actually in the workforce inside the school, who are actually working to obtain money for their basic needs, and they're obtaining money in hopes that they can actually spend some for this discretionary needs, right? For the discretionary spending. Tell you that in the long term, when they actually receive no sense of satisfaction, or when they don't really get a sense of happiness from spending their money on something that they actually want to send or actually need, eventually they will actually see maybe they will continue working on it to fulfill their basic needs, but eventually they will actually lose interest in their jobs, and that will decrease the productivity of the workers. Let's see. So yeah, there were buttons that will go through. Go through a few categorizations and sessions, right? So yes, sure. Charities actually is to support the welfare of people who those in need, so forth. But actually, the thing about charities, right, they are actually very profit-based. They're very profit-based organizations, and we tell you that not all the money that the charity receives actually go 100% towards supporting the welfare of those in need. We tell you that let's say like 50% of money, for example, sorry, please sit down. Like 50% of the money that you actually give to charity, 50% of them will go to welfare, maybe to buy clothes, to buy food, to support the welfare. But I tell you that the other half of the money, the other percentage of money will not go to welfare, will go to taxes and paying rent after maybe the charity homes and such. So we tell you that when you actually spend money towards this charity, and in hopes that maybe I'm going to actually contribute to society by making the life better by supporting the welfare. Tell you that when you give your money to these charities in the first place, not even all the money that you'll be giving will actually go towards supporting the welfare of those in need. So let's yes.
How do you say that people who lost interest in their job and quit their job when they can still use the money to buy for the basic necessities by paying bills and foods?
What I meant was when they will eventually lose in, yes, they will keep working in order to get their basic needs right. But I guess in the long term, they will actually lose interest in their job because they don't find any type of like happiness from attaining something that they want, something that they actually want instead of something that they actually want. So the closing observation inside is that what the individuals feel, what these people are working every day, why their feelings actually outweigh the needs of others, right? Tell you that these people, they actually work for the money every single day, and we tell you that they deserve to spending money without feeling any sense of guilt or being looked down upon by society for not giving, for not donating like a few cents towards charity, right? So next, the opening side of the house already told you that why discretionary spending is actually good because it makes you happy, gives you a sense of satisfaction, it's like a self-reward system, right? Besides that, we tell you that when you actually spend money towards discretionary spending, like when maybe you go to the movies, maybe you go shopping, the money that you put into these will actually fuel like these entertainment industries that really that also need to be supported besides like the food industry and so on, and so on and so forth, right? So lastly, tell you that why it should be a moral obligation is because yes, we need to help the people who are in need, but I tell you that it is actually a burden of the government to actually help these people and not a burden on the people because yes, because in sense go like things like fundraising campaigns and taxes already exist to help these people in society that need help, right? So we believe in a world where the feelings of the individuals outweighs the feelings of those are actually in need. Thank you.
Thank you for that speech. Welcome, Johari. Continue.
We have to understand that there is something in status quo that we have to overcome, and it's poverty. We think that yes, maybe through fundraising you can get money from those fundraising and also those type of charities we have the status quo. But the government side, we decided to take it a step forward and make every individual that has extra money after paying for their basic needs to give to charity to overcome poverty. Because we have to understand that people that need charity are always the people that are poverty. And we think that the people that are poverty are the people that don't have enough resources or don't have enough money to even get to get opportunity. And when they don't have enough money to get opportunity, that is the point where they would get education, and that is the point where they would only be a burden to our country. So first, we have to understand. Rebuttals, right? So OG came up and said that being happy and being able to use all that money to what they want, to what they desire, is the right to themselves. Yes, we consent to this, but the fact that we need to help others in need is also somewhat an individual's right, an individual's obligation towards the country. Yes, we have to consent to the fact that a country needs everyone to be able to everyone to function, to be able to progress as a country. We think that the rest of the house, they're them talking about, hey, they would eventually get the benefits coming from government when country progresses, is somewhat very vague because they didn't explain how that process would be. And we think that closing government explains that well. Because and I'll explain that. So when you are able to help these people with charity, when you are able to give these people another chance, when you are able to provide these people education by the money that we get from these individuals, we think that that is one step forward to having a more successful country. Since we all know that the poverty rate right now is very high, and the fact that they wanted, they suggested ways such as teaching these people good morals wouldn't work because there are two types of individuals in society. One is the type that would think that, hey, we should help these people, and then the other type would just not give any sort of contribution. And we think that this motion itself would cater to both of these people and would eventually make all parts of society and make all parts of individuals that have that don't care about these poverty people help these people. And secondly, closing government came up and said and talked about sit down, and closing came up and said about how these fundraising would eventually help. We think fundraising would only help them in a matter of time. It's not going to help all of them because of the fact that fundraising would only collect so much to the point where it's not going to help all sorts of people that are in poverty throughout the long run. We think that this issue under our side, maybe they won't teach you good more. Maybe they wouldn't show you that, hey, charity is somewhat good, but at least at the end of the day, we are able to help people that are in poverty. And somewhat, our side believes that when you, for example, the analogy given by Umar, he talked about how a mom would eventually force her son to give 1 ringgit to the people from this people's side. And by this act of forcing, the kid will eventually grow out the habit and grow out this feeling of that, hey, charity is somewhat good, and we need to actually be able to fulfill charity without having any hard things like that before that.
Yeah, charity is good. No one said otherwise, right? But this debate isn't about whether or not charity benefits or harms society. This debate is about why it's just for state to take away the rights of its people just because it benefits that state.
We think that yes, we are taking the right of these people, but at the same time we are trying to cater. We are trying to decrease the poverty people in our country for the sake of a better country, for the sake of a better life throughout the world. Because we think that when you are able to decrease people that are in poverty, you are able to really provide a good life, no matter if you're the majority, if you're the majority or the minority. Both of these lives will eventually be better, right? But also,
clarification.
Sit down. And also, so we have to understand the stakeholders in this debate and what they do. So first, the first stakeholders that will be affected will be the people that have enough basic needs. We think that these are the people that work, that are able to get the opportunity, and they are able to get proper education, to the fact that they are able to afford these enough basic needs, and they are able to live a stable life. And we think that that is no problem. But the problem is that those people that are struggling to even pay for their basic needs, and those people that are struggling to even find opportunity for their children or for themselves to get all this sort of education. We think that at the end of the day, we are trying to solve the people that are struggling to even find an opportunity. We think that that is closing government's stance today, and we think that compared to opposition wouldn't have this sort of thing going on, because of the fact that this is very mutually exclusive under our side, because of the fact that we are able to really give them continuous support in terms of charity and money by taking people away people's money. We think that at the end of the day, we will be able to poverty. Sit down. And we have to talk about how these people at the poverty, under the poverty line will eventually work. People under the poverty line, the best that they could be, the best that they could eventually, the best that they could eventually in their future is as a blue collar worker. And we think that this itself is not somewhat a good, it's not somewhat a good chance to them because because when you are a blue collar worker, such as like all these poverty people are usually these labor workers and stuff. We think that this is not a good, this is not one way we should appreciate them because of the fact that you won't have the same sort of opportunity to get education, but also at the same time you won't have this sort of, you won't have this sort of the same privilege like other people do. And we think that that would happen if this motion isn't, if no steps were to be taken to these people that are in poverty, right? And lastly, why do we win this debate? We are able to help individuals that are in poverty, like of course, and at the same time, we get to teach, we get to force these good models into somewhat an individual, and we think that that is one of the things that is going to there.
I think we go with 12.4.
Money to a company which doesn't actually give all to the people in need. We believe that's such a problematic world to live in at the end of the day. So before I start with my speech, I have one rebuttal for the speaker before me. So he said that this fundraising that our side wants to do would help at the end of the day. So that it doesn't cover as much as your side covers somehow. Yes, we agree. It could. Our fundraising could only help a certain amount of people, but they need to concede to the fact that their charities could also only cover a certain area only. They could not somehow cover everyone who's in poverty right now. So we don't see how fundraising is any different from charities at the end of the day, right? Right now the people. That people shouldn't always opt into to give to charity if they want to. They could. It's totally fine. But we believe it's totally illogical to force people in donating their money, their hard-earned money into charity. So now I'm gonna explain briefly again about what are charities. So the closing opposition believes it's totally wrong to put a large sum of money into these profit-based companies. Because yes, charities are profit-based companies, and because at the end of the day, the harsh truth is that the money that we put into these charities doesn't fully go to these children or to these wars or to these poverty people, right? Because only like a quarter or only half of it does, and we don't see the need, the over need in donating such a large sum of cash to these fake companies, to these companies who just who wants some kind of profit at the end of the day. And what do these charities actually do with the other half of the money that they don't give to welfare, right? So they use it to make the charities much more popular. They use it for advertising so that people could be attracted and they could donate much more, right? And that's when they trick us. And the closing opposition believes that the government side is totally fooled by these charities at the end of the day. So next, their world, they don't want to prioritize themselves. They want to prioritize the people who are somehow in need. And we don't on our side, we say we don't ignore or totally don't donate to these charities, right? Charities still exist under our world, but we deny to the fact that our feelings should not be as important as these charities. Our feelings should not be cared all of a sudden. We should totally ignore our feelings. We should totally put all this money into charities, and we say that's completely wrong. Sit down, I'll take a minute. So next, under their world, they say that we make charities look like a sin because we're not somehow forcing them to donate, right? And we never said that giving to charity is a sin. We just don't think it's legitimate to give all of our extra hard work to something. A little is totally fine, but it's totally unjust to be forced to give it all. And under closing opposition, we don't think that charity is something that's so damn good, right? Because as I said, it is still a profit-based company, and if we put in more, they'll get profit. They'll get much more profit. So before I move on,
don't you think that when, like you said, that not all of this money that goes to the charity will go to the children, and some of them will make the charity much more powerful? Don't you think that when the charity becomes much more powerful, it becomes much more money will be able to go through all of these people in poverty, making it much more easier for these poverty people to access it?
We don't see that the impact on the people will actually be different, right? We see that the money the half of the money that doesn't go to these people will go to things like taxes. The government will go to things like increasing the building, increasing the charity at the end of the day. So we don't believe that the impact on these poverty people will actually be affected. So next, the harms on the government side. So they are being blinded by the idea of charities being something so damn good. They don't use the fact, they don't see the fact that these charities are making a profit through our donations, and they are disprioritizing what we want to do. Because there's no harm on spending on movies or a day out if it makes us happy, if it gives a sense of satisfaction. The closing opposition believes that we should go suit ourselves with whatever we want to do, right? So next, the benefit coming from the opposition side is that under our side, charities will still exist. Yes, they're still running as normal. People who are in need will still get some form of help at the end of the day. But at the same time, the society could still spend their hard work money on fun, because that's totally justified to be spent on at the end of the day, right? And we are not prioritizing charity over our own feelings and what we want to do. If we want to spend it on a family day out, we think that's totally justified, right? So, and we believe that our feelings are as important or somehow more important than these people's feeling, right? So, the long run under our side. So, under our paradigm, charities, as I said again and again, charities will still exist. People will get to if people want to give into charity, it's totally fine. We appreciate it, but people could spend their money on things that they want to spend. So under our side, charities will be happy, people will be happy. But under your world, charities will be like somehow very happy. Like some people will be sad, and that's why opposition band deserves the win for today. So if you want a world where which benefits both sides, and under our world, we could still help the people in need, go with side, closing opposition.
Okay, cross the floor, shake hands, get outside.